Good morning. Chairman McDermott, Congressman Linder, Congressman Davis, thank you very much for the opportunity to discuss the role of responsible fatherhood programs in increasing financial support for children and strengthening the ties between fathers and their children. We very much appreciate this subcommittee's longstanding interest in strengthening America's families, and in particular Congressman Davis's leadership on responsible fatherhood issues. Congressman, I had the honor of sharing the podium with you at the President's first regional Responsible Fatherhood town hall meeting in Chicago last summer. And the President, who, as we all know, grew up without his father, has also spoken eloquently about the critical importance of responsible fatherhood. All of us know that children need the emotional and financial support of both parents. Statistics show that 1 out of every 3 children in America lives apart from his or her father, and 43% of children in fiscal year 2008 who were living with single mothers were in poverty. Economic downturns such as the one we are now experiencing make it even more difficult for parents to provide the emotional and financial support that their children need. Parents are the most important influence on children, and parenting responsibility must rest with families. But the administration strongly believes that government can and should play a role in providing resources to support paternal involvement, and that's why we're taking action to increase investment in the development and assessment of responsible fatherhood programs. I'd like to discuss the efforts we've undertaken to build on the strengths of both parents by instilling responsible fatherhood throughout our programs and discuss recent research findings relevant to that effort. I'll also discuss the President's fiscal year 2011 Fatherhood, Marriage, and Families Innovation Fund that was developed in response to emerging best practices and that comports with recently released research findings. In the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005, Congress established a 5-year, $150 million per year program for healthy marriage and responsible fatherhood. Of this amount, Congress allocated up to $50 million per year for responsible fatherhood programs. In 2006, using these funds, the Administration for Children and Families awarded almost 100 5-year grants to public and private organizations to promote responsible fatherhood with a focus primarily on improving parenting skills. In addition to these locally based projects, ACF invested in national and community-based responsible fatherhood capacity building initiatives and a national clearinghouse and media campaign. Some states have also used Recovery Act resources provided through the TANF Emergency Fund to promote fathers' involvement in their children's lives and to strengthen families. States are using this fund to provide subsidized employment opportunities for low-income parents and youth across the country. 32 states and 7 tribes have received more than $600 million in emergency funds for their subsidized employment programs. And based on a survey conducted by the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, 180,000 individuals could be placed in subsidized employment using these funds by the end of this fiscal year. These subsidized programs can play a vital role in helping parents provide for their families, thus paving the way to connect fathers with their children. Another ACF program, Child Support Enforcement, promotes responsible fatherhood by establishing and enforcing financial obligations to children who live apart from a parent. The Child Support Program also provides employment-oriented programs for fathers, and in fact it is increasingly focused on services to fathers. And finally, throughout the nation, there are many innovative state-sponsored programs to engage fathers in the lives of their children. A few examples. Georgia has a statewide fatherhood network that serves over 34,000 non-custodial parents. New York's program provides intensive employment and parenting services, and I was fortunate to oversee that program in my prior role. And Texas's process to require non-custodial parents behind in their child support payments to participate in a work program with intensive employment services. Just a few examples of innovative state efforts. While we know that family income, family structure, and the quality of family relationships matter to child well-being, our knowledge about the specific services and interventions that enhance such well-being is limited. We've identified promising practices, but more research is needed to understand the best mix of services to improve child outcomes for low-income fathers and mothers and their children. We recently released an impact study based on our Building Strong Families demonstration, which had disappointing findings. First, there was a lack of any significant impacts across the sites as a whole, and that suggests the need to take an approach that is broader and more comprehensive than the one that relies specifically on relationship services. Second, one of the 8 sites in that study did demonstrate positive impacts, suggesting that there are lessons to be learned about how to deliver those services effectively. And third, the troubling negative impacts in one site point to the crucial need to address domestic violence issues in the context of these programs. All of this evidence suggests that the kinds of programs funded through the existing Healthy Marriage Responsible Fatherhood grants are not sufficient to produce improvements in child well-being, and that's the basis for the President's new Fatherhood, Marriage, and Family Innovation Fund. The goal of that fund is to build a strong evidence base about what service intervention models work to remove barriers to employment and increase family functioning and parenting capacity. Through the new fund, the administration seeks to build on the experience of community-based efforts across the country, but to move to the next phase of service delivery, creating a network of community-based programs working in partnership with states to provide comprehensive services to parents at a broader scale that individual programs can provide. The fund aims to break down program silos, reduce program fragmentation to create a more coordinated and multifaceted approach to serving low-income parents. We expect states to actively partner with community-based organizations to combine direct services with supportive public policy strategies, and successful applicants will demonstrate strong linkages with child support enforcement and other state programs and ensure that the programs have in place a plan to reduce the risk of domestic violence. And finally, they'll be required to establish meaningful performance goals and participate in rigorous evaluation. I think we can all agree that too many children continue to grow up without the benefit of a father in their lives. The President's Innovation Fund will build on what we have learned from research and program experience and develop a more extensive evidence base by fostering innovation and instituting rigorous evaluation so we can improve outcomes for children and families. And we look forward to working with this subcommittee to enhance the positive impact that fathers have on their children's financial and emotional well-being. Thank you very much.